Alright, here are these lovely struts from the Sika company. They're out of Taiwan, and they're supposed to be all set up and ready to go for this vehicle. So I have the two front and the two rear. And like I said, I have the pillow ball for the spherical bearing instead of the rubber bushing on top. There's a few bucks more, and it's probably worth it in the long run. So let's start. Alright, we're going to work on the rear struts, and to get to the mounting, we got to loosen those first. One of them is under the trunk lid. You got to open that up and then take the little plug out, and the other two are inside here. They're held in by these little fasteners. You can use a screwdriver, but I just grab it with my fingers and twist. And then if you come around, you can see that this piece now then it will just lift up out of the way. And you should be able to get to the other two mounting. The one right there, and then there's one over there, right there, okay? Alright, the nut in here is the hardest. I'm using a wobble socket, and then and they're not on very tight, so I loosened the hand, and I'm sticking my hand behind. There's access here, and the idea is that we don't drop it. So I'm going to reach back here, hold on to it. It'd be nice if I had a magnetic piece, but just going to move out that hand, undo it, and then just push it up through the top, and there you go. We got that nut. And the other two are very easy, okay? Alright, just like the front, we're going to undo the brake and the ABS. They're both 10 mils. And just like the front, the sway bar actually goes through, and that's the pinch to hold the strut in place. This one, I think I'm going to just undo it here and just let the whole thing hang down. And that way there's no tension on it, and we'll see what else I have to get out of the way to get enough swing on this arm. Same thing with before. I'm just going to put a tool on it. Just like that, it comes out. And just like this, and they're just going to come right off like that. Alright, I got the sway bar link out, which is the pinch. I also disconnected that little dog bone on the bottom, just like the front. And then on this, the axle nut, I undid that. And now I'm going to try to push this in with an air hammer. Okay, here we go. Alright, here we go. Let's see if it moves. Alright, that's free now. Okay, so the axle is free. And now I can get to the other part and try to see if I can actually get this thing apart. Alright, let's see. Okay, I got everything disconnected, the CV joint, I got the tie rod. I tried not to mess up as much as possible, but I had to undo that inner, the coffin on the inside to get enough play, so I'll reconnect it with tension. But now, because the emergency cable is still hooked up here, I'm going to try to push it this way and rotate this assembly this way out. And at least that's my hope, so I can actually undo it and get it out of here. And I think we're just going to have just enough room to do that. Without dropping this thing. Let's see. There we go, I got it. Okay. Put it back on the transmount here. There we go. And it's free, okay? Wow, what a pain in the butt. This is much more difficult to do the rear than it was to do the front. But I got it all disconnected, so this should just slide right out like that. And there we go. Whoa, that was a pain in the butt. Okay, so let's put the rears back in. The coilover is going to be shorter, so the new one should be easier to install, okay? Alright, installing is the same. I got a spacer here for this. I'm going to clean this off too. And then we're going to stick the coilover straight into it. It should fit just perfectly. The only thing is this has a huge taper, and that taper actually goes on the inside. It tapers to the center of the car. So be careful about that as you install it to make sure that taper actually goes in where it belongs. Okay, now I got the sway bar link tied in, which cinches this. There's a gap in here, so these are a little shorter than I thought, but I also have the bolts tightened up there. I can only go one way. And the last thing I have to do is put on this piece right here, and I'll move it over and get that on. And I put load on this hub right here. I still have to tighten up the axle nut before I tighten that up, and it should be pretty close to us because you're gonna have to get alignment no matter what. But I tightened up all the other pieces. We'll get this mounted here, and then we'll see what we can do for the rest of this stuff. I don't know exactly, but we'll see what we can do for that. And then we'll have to tighten some of the stuff and then put it out of the way, and then put all things and put the caliper back on it. But that's pretty much it. That's the hardest part. But the new coilovers are so short that all it took you to take out the original, you don't even have to worry about it putting it back in, because they're all right. To show you the conclusion, there we go. Struts in place. The bolts on top are tightened down. There's no hangers on the coilovers for this like the original struts, so I zip tied one away so it's away, and the bottom here I zip tied it to here so it stay off the axle and get out of the way. The caliper's back in place, down, and of course everything underneath is back together. Okay, so that's it. And then of course you get alignment afterwards, and that's how you did the rear strut on this. But pretty much the rear is much harder than the front. You just have to disassemble a lot more pieces to get to it. All right, so take care, enjoy your build. Thank you.